You wake up mid-scene, still inside it, the room, the conversation, the fear or joy that came with it. For a second, it's more real than the bedroom around you. You tell yourself you'll remember this one. By the time you've brushed your teeth, it's gone. Not faded. Gone. The way a name disappears the second after someone says it. Scientists estimate you forget close to 90% of your dreams within minutes of waking. Not because they're boring. Some of the most vivid experiences your brain makes all week happen while you're asleep. And almost none of it survives waking up. You can remember a dull meeting from 3 years ago. You can't remember what happened in your own head 6 hours ago. So, what's actually happening in there? Here's the first reason, and it starts with chemistry. Every memory you keep while awake gets stamped into place with help from a brain chemical called norepinephrine. It's part of what tells your brain, in the moment, something happens. This matters. Keep it. During REM sleep, the stage where most vivid dreaming happens, norepinephrine drops to almost nothing, close to zero. A second chemical involved in memory, serotonin, falls sharply too. At the same time, the part of your brain responsible for logic and long-term filing, the prefrontal cortex, goes quiet. It's the same region that's wide awake and working hard when you're memorizing a phone number or a face. While you dream, it's barely online. So, your brain is fully capable of generating a dream. Vivid, emotional, detailed. It just isn't running any of the machinery it would normally use to save one. You're not forgetting your dreams the way you forget where you left your keys. You're forgetting them because, chemically, they were barely written down in the first place. Think of it like a camera with the lens wide open and the recording light switched off. Everything is happening in full detail right in front of you. Nothing is actually being saved to the file. But some of it does get written down, at least briefly, which raises a stranger question. Where does the rest go? Sleep researchers have found that dream recall is highest in the first few seconds after waking and falls off a cliff after that. Wake someone in the middle of a dream and ask immediately, and they'll often describe it in detail. Wait 5 unstructured minutes, no writing it down, no telling anyone, and most of that detail is already gone. That points to something like a short-term holding cell. A dream can sit in a kind of temporary memory just long enough to be caught if something catches it in time. Get distracted, check your phone, start planning your morning, and the window closes on its own, quietly, without you ever noticing it happened. And this happens dozens of times a night, not once. Sleep isn't one long, uninterrupted stretch. It cycles through REM roughly every 90 minutes, meaning most people have 4 or 5 separate dreams over the course of a night. Almost every single one of them gets exactly the same short, unforgiving window. Almost every single one of them misses it. This is also why people who keep dream journals remember dramatically more dreams over time. They're not having more dreams than anyone else. They're just the only ones showing up for the brief window when the dream is still catchable. It's the same reason a phone number someone reads out loud vanishes almost instantly if you don't repeat it back or write it down. The information was real. It was in your head, briefly, in full. But nothing happened to move it anywhere more permanent, so it simply expired on schedule. Which leads to the most interesting finding of all. In 2013, a team led by neuroscientist Perrine Ruby at the Lion Neuroscience Research Center compared 2 kinds of sleepers. High recallers, who remembered a dream about 5 mornings out of every week. Low recallers, who remembered maybe 2 dreams a month. The obvious guess is that high recallers simply dream more, or dream more vividly. That's not what the brain scans showed. High recallers had almost twice as many brief awakenings during the night, moments of light wakefulness lasting only seconds, gone before morning, that most people never remember happening at all. Their brains were also more reactive to sound while sleeping, more easily nudged awake by the world around them. Here's why that matters. A sleeping brain cannot lay down a new memory. It has to be at least briefly awake to do that. Every one of those tiny forgotten awakenings is a small window where a dream can slip across the gap into memory, before the person falls straight back to sleep with no idea it happened. Low recallers aren't dreaming less. Statistically, they're probably dreaming just as often. They're simply sleeping through every opportunity to catch one. This also explains something dream researchers had struggled with for years. Why dream recall varies so wildly between two people sleeping in the same bed, on the same night, in the same room. It was never really about who dreams more. It's about whose brain happens to surface for those few unremembered seconds at exactly the moment something is worth catching. So far, every explanation here treats forgetting as a failure, a memory system that just doesn't work properly while you're asleep. In 1983, two scientists proposed something stranger, that it isn't a failure at all. Francis Crick, one of the two men who discovered the structure of DNA, and his collaborator Graham Mitchison, published a theory in the journal Nature. Their idea, REM sleep, exists specifically to weaken certain memories, not strengthen them. Their reasoning went like this. A brain that keeps learning day after day risks building up parasitic patterns, false or overloaded connections that clutter the system, the mental equivalent of a hard drive filling up with junk files. REM sleep, in their model, is the nightly cleanup. Dreaming, on this theory, is less like writing a memory and more like watching the recycling bin empty in real time. It's a controversial idea and far from settled science. But it reframes the entire question. If they're even partly right, you were never supposed to remember most of your dreams. The forgetting isn't the system breaking. It might be the system doing exactly the job it evolved to do. Later researchers modeling this mathematically found something that supported the idea. Networks built to only ever learn and never unlearn eventually choke on their own storage. Every new memory gets harder to tell apart from the last, until the whole system degrades. Add a nightly cycle of deliberate forgetting, and the same network can keep working indefinitely. Forgetting, in that model, isn't the opposite of memory. It's what makes memory sustainable at all. Line up all four pieces, and a single shape emerges. The chemistry needed to save a memory is almost entirely switched off during the dream itself. What little gets through only survives in a short window right after waking, one most people let close without noticing. Catching a dream at all depends on a brief, involuntary awakening that has nothing to do with how interesting the dream was. And underneath all of it, there's a real possibility the brain is trying to forget on purpose. None of these are separate accidents. There are four different descriptions of the same event. A brain that spends its dreaming hours doing almost everything except filing paperwork. It also means the question people usually ask is backwards. The mystery was never why dreams are so hard to remember. Given everything happening, or not happening, in your skull at 3 in the morning. The real mystery is that any of it survives until breakfast at all. So here's the strange comfort in all of this. The dream you do remember, the one still sitting with you an hour later, wasn't kept because your brain decided it mattered more than the others. It was kept because, by pure chance, you happened to be briefly awake at the right second, or you reached for a notebook before the window shut. Everything else, the other 90% every night for your entire life, happened anyway. Whole scenes, whole conversations, whole small worlds your mind built, and then quietly took apart before sunrise. Not lost, never actually filed to begin with, which means the one dream you remember from last night isn't leftover data. It's a rare survivor, The one thing that slipped past a system built, almost entirely, to make sure it didn't. Tonight your brain will do this again. Build something detailed enough to feel real, run it for hours, and then, by design or by accident, take almost all of it apart before you open your eyes. It has done this every night of your life, thousands of times over, without asking your permission and without much caring whether you noticed. The next one you manage to remember won't be special because your brain decided to keep it. It'll be special because, for once, you were there to catch it before it went.